welcome to this week's of Dizneyverse Fantasy Football League. I am your host, Redbeard, aka Alex Co, aka Redbeard Variant. Welcome along. If you don't know who we are a fantasy football league for our Patreon, which is for our podcast, Dizneyverse, Dizneyverse. This is our first season of our fantasy football league, and the non-host who finishes the highest will get a free shirt out of it. So that's always fun. We're gonna go over the results of week 10, look at the week 11, and if you're interested in what Dizneyverse is, we are a Disney history podcast. Every week on Monday, release our episodes, and it could be about a restaurant, a movie, a character, a ride at the parks, whatever we feel like. We just talk about some history, have some laughs, and have fun with it. So I'm going to get into the week 10 results. I am by myself today, unfortunately, but let's go ahead and get into it. So before we go in week results, I'm going to look at best manager. We had Obi-Wan Kenobi, also known as 51st Legion. He had max points possible of 121.84. He had a really good week that week. Worst was, surprisingly, Big Fuel Diz with 72.42. He only scored 70%. He only scored 72% of his lineup. Pretty bad week for him. Biggest blowout, we'll get to it later, is 106, which is Lady Champs versus East High Wildcats. Nair's victory was Stroop the Whoop, with losing to No New Friends for a total of 7 or 6.98. Let me get into it. But pretty close game there. Pretty close game. So we're going to look at the week results. Start off with the Historians, which is my team with my fellow hosts, against Team Kalina. Team Kalina drops to 6-4 because we beat them. We go up to 7-3. We look at the first thing here. You got Russell Wilson doing well versus Stroud. Stroud had a bad week. That's all right. Barkley had a bad week. I was worried about that. And White had a good week, but then the rest kind of tapers off. Dobbins, bad. Kamara, decent. St. Brown, really good. Neighbors, bad. And then, unfortunately, Kalina still has Godwin in her lineup. She lost by only 7. She lost by a little over 7, a little less than 7. So if she would have had any player in there, she probably would have won. I mean, my team did not play well. I actually should have lost. And there you go, Courtland Sutton should have been there. And that would have been the win. That would have been a win. Sorry for all yawning. It's kind of late. I coach soccer for my daughter's team, and we had a playoff game tonight. We lost in penalty kicks, so I'm just a little worn out from it. Best thing on our lineup right now is Calvin Ridley is doing really well. I'm happy the way he's playing, especially as a flex. We're going to St. Brown and Adams as our starting two. And then bench-wise, you got Courtland Sutton there, who was actually the top wide receiver on the bench. 16. So, I mean, if she had put that in, she would have won. So we got really lucky there. Moving on, we got Big Blue Diz versus King of the North. And Big Blue Diz had a poor showing, drops to 7-3 after going undefeated for a while. King of the North goes up to 3-7. Brock Purdy went off. Sam Darnold did terrible, but somehow King of the North ended up pulling us along. I mean, if you just look at the top 3, it's like not good. Top 2, not good for that. But Caffrey came in, finally did some work. Bigsby apparently got hurt, missed the touchdown. Higgins is still in your lineup, even though Higgins is out. It was a Thursday night game. He was a late scratch, even though I knew he wasn't going to play as a Bengals fan. So that's unfortunate. But even so, he didn't have Pittman, and he still won by a lot. So he was out. But having 23 from the Eagles really helped a lot. Looking at your bench, unfortunately, you have all these bye weeks, so really not much you could have done. If you would have put the Bills in, which is your top defense on the bench, that's 21 over 4. So that's a difference of 17. Does 17 make you win? No. Putting in Hawkinson over Higgins, does that make you win? No. No, it doesn't. So, whatever. You're going to lose some, especially when you're sitting some players that you like to play. So, pretty good. King of the North having a great week. They could beat almost anybody with that score. So, keep it up, King of the North. Looking good. Looking good for sure. And speaking of King of the North, you did have the top defense team. The Philadelphia Eagles forced 3 fumbles and an interception to get 23 fantasy points. They also only let 6 points allowed. No touchdown. Give it up. So pretty good by them. Next, we have No New Friend Scott versus Troop the Whoop. And this was a pretty close game. No New Friend Scott scored only 82. Usually that's a loss, but Troop the Whoop scored 75. Stafford had a poor showing. Allen, 20 points is good, but to him, it's not great. Mixon continues to do well. Brees Hall did bad. Kyron Williams did bad. Swift did bad. A lot of bad weeks here for some players. And what was the difference here? The difference was Hunt versus Waddle. Hill versus Worthy. Yeah, that was about it, really. Um, any bench players could have done better. Not really. I forgot to go back, and King of the North had the best running back on the bench with not much. If I go to King of the North, back to what we did already. Cam Akers scored 5.2 points, and that was the best running back on a bench. So running backs are not doing amazing right now, especially if you're not starting them. You're going to start all the running backs who need to be started. But, I mean, nothing really bench. These are bye weeks, so it's going to be hard. Houston scored 11 points, which is nice. Better than San Francisco defense. Would that have won you the game? 11 versus 3. That's 8. 8 points. That would have won me by 1, actually. So if Stroop would have played the Texans defense instead of the 49ers defense, which Texans versus Detroit, San Fran versus Tampa Bay, I would have done the same thing. So you really can't fault yourself for doing what everyone else would have done, you know? That would have given you the win over No New Friend Scott, who went up to 8-2, and I believe is now leading the league. I believe. Oh, 51st Legion, by the way. Oh, that's not 51st Legion. Correct? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Moving forward, we have 51st Legion versus Team Maverick Migs. And this 51st Legion went off of 121. Dang. Even though Team Maverick has Lamar Jackson with 32 fantasy points, Bijan Robinson went off. And that makes him the top running back of the week, Bijan Robinson. He went ahead and rushed for over 100 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns, accruing 27.9 points. James Conner also had a good game. Mahomes had a decent game. All his players had decent games except for Wilson, because Jets did bad, and Shakir, which is surprising. But there's another wide receiver for the Bills who ended up doing well, and he's not a well-known player, so like Shakir could have been that player. Tracy had a good game. Baltimore defense didn't do great for Cincinnati. It was a really slugfest. Looking at the bench for Team Maverick Migs, you have 1, 2, 3 players on bye. So, I mean, if you're replacing players, I don't think you would end up winning. Unfortunately, Maverick Migs, you're getting on the King of the North radar, where I'm going to start. I am paying attention to you, because if you're going to let 3 people on bye start, including Ford, a third string running back, you're not clearly not paying attention to the league. So moving forward, you're probably going to get all else. Moving forward here, we have heavyweights versus. Oh, I'm sorry. I did be. Moving forward, we have heavyweights versus Akuda Matata. Akuda Matata scored 144 versus heavyweights 98. And if you look here, Joe Burrow 33 points. And that makes him the top quarterback of the week. Joe Burrow threw for over 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. This is the second week that, not in a row, but it's the second week this year that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase was the top quarterback in wide receiver fantasy, and they lost. It's really sad. Really sad. We got Joe Burrow going off, but we also have Chase Brown, who did really well, even with the fumble loss. Montgomery did well. We got Jamar Chase on the opposite side, 49 fantasy points. He was our top wide receiver. And Jamar Chase had 3 touchdowns with over 250 receiving yards, scoring over 50, almost 50 fantasy points. He had some crazy after the catch runs. We got Brown versus Thompson. Brown did well. Thompson did terrible with the backup quarterback for some reason. We got Kelsey, who did well. And actually, Kelsey was our top tight end of the week. So we had 3 top players in this game. And heavyweights had 2 of them and still ended up losing, unfortunately. That's pretty rough. Pretty rough. Travis Kelsey, he was our top tight end with 16 fantasy points. He's got 8 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown. Tank Dowdo did terrible. Casey defense did bad. I mean, where was the difference? Where did heavyweights go wrong? Is it just that Mostert had a bad game, even though and Brown had a great game? Cup had a bad game. Chase had an amazing game, but then like Burrow had a good game and Tagovailoa had a bad game. So where's the difference? Wide receiver 2, flex 1, flex 2, defense. Those 4 positions right there. Could he done anything different? If you played Murray over Tua, that's the difference of 28 minus 9 is 18, 17, no, 19. 19. Give yourself 9. I'm looking at the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong team because Tua did so bad. He still scored 144. It's insane. Heavyweights. Anything you can change? No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Yeah. So it's unfortunate for heavyweights, who's now 5-5, but Akuma Matata is 5-5 as well. So it's like still going on there. Just these numbers are crazy. I can't believe she scored 144. It's nuts. Moving forward, we have the last game of the week, Lady and Champs versus East High Wildcats. Not going to look over here. I'm going to look over here. Jalen Hurts went out for 30.68 points. A-Chain had a down day. Cook did well. Jefferson had a down day. London did well. Komet had a bad game. Pickens did well. Hopkins, not great. Pittsburgh defense, not great. And then anyone on the bench, not really. New Orleans defense is better, but you weren't going to predict that really. So, no, pretty good lineup. Lady Champs went to 8-2, tied with Scott for number 1 in the league, I believe. So, pretty good. Speaking of the league, here is the standings. Like I said, Lady and Champs and Nutty Friend Scott are tied for first place. Right now, Lady Champs is put in the first place position because she has more points for. And then we drop down to 7-3 for Historians and Big Beautiful Diz. Then Kalina by herself, number 5 at 6-4. Then we have a 2-way tie for 5-5. Akuma Matata and Heavyweights. And right below them at 4-6, it's Fisher's Legion and Stroop the Whoop. And remember, that 6th spot is a playoff spot. So 6, 7, 8, 9, you guys are on the bubble for the playoff spot. So I think it's you all have a chance. So hit those waivers. Make sure you're not starting bad players. Make sure you're not starting players that are not here. And make sure you look at free agency, because if I look at free agency, I'm going to look at some people who are not in anyone's team right now. Top free agent last week was Derek Carr. He finally got back to playing well after a hot start for the season. He scored 20.5 fantasy points with almost 270 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. You look at Derek Carr here. You had amazing start, kind of came down to earth. Okay, and then got hurt. He's back. Decent game against Carolina. Would like him to do more than that, and then had a great game against Atlanta. Now he plays against Cleveland. Great defense. Bye week. But look at these last games here. Rams, Giants, Washington, Green Bay, Las Vegas, Tampa Bay. Rams are actually a pretty good defense, numbers wise. Giants, I'm not worried about them. Commanders, not worried about them. Packers, not worried about them. Vegas, not worried about Tampa Bay. No, like I think Derek Carr's a good look at for possibly someone you might start the last 5-6 games of the year if you're not liking the quarterback you have. So if you need a quarterback, take a look at Derek Carr for sure. Other than that, Rodgers is still out there. He's not doing great. Look at 4 fantasy points. Like, how do you even do that? That's insane. 35 passes, 22 yards, 151 yards. No touchdowns, and had a fumble. Wow. Okay. And so not great for him, but still Jets are still like supposed to be a playoff contender. And the last few games here, like I would target against Seattle, target against Miami, target Jacksonville. I don't know if I target against Rams, Buffalo, but definitely Miami. So Rodgers is a look at for sure. They have Trevor Lawrence, who is out. Should be back soon. Definitely, maybe Detroit, maybe after bye. And he has a favorable matchup for playoffs as well. So look at him. Looking at running back, not much there on the waiver wire. We're still just looking at handcuffs, unfortunately. Like I said, top running back was Cardinals' second running back, Ricky Benson. He turned 10 carries into 60 yards for 9.7 points. He is a rookie for Cardinals, and he is definitely a handcuff because if Cardinals gets hurt, he is going to be the guy. Other handcuffs I would look at would be Hill, Edwards, Algier, Herbert, not Herbert, Pierce, and that's it. That's available on the top right. That's available right there for me. I look at those guys for if you want to grab a running back on your bench just in case someone gets hurt. Those are guys I would do it with. Wide receiver, we had the top wide receiver was Valdez-Scantling. He wound up on the Saints after being released by the Bills and has since played 44% snaps, then 55% snap, scoring 24.4 points, catching 3 targets for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns on his last showing. He's not even showing here for Week 11 projection, but if I go down here, there he is. He played for the Bills, did not do anything for the Bills really. Since then, got signed by the Saints, played 41% snaps, 55% snaps. But if you look at teams here, their main wide receiver is hurt, Olave. But where is Olave? I don't even see him. Why is he not here? Is he done for the year? Oh, he's on IR. Not ruled out for season. He was placed in injury reserve, so he will be forced to miss at least 3 more games. So for 3 more games, was that one of them? That was a day ago. So 3 more games. Valdez-Scantling might be a streaming option. So you may want to, grab him and play him for the next 3 games. They have him projected here. So we have Cleveland, bye, Rams, Giants. I would maybe see how he does against Cleveland. If he does decent, which is a good defense, maybe play him against Rams and Giants if he's getting a lot of percentage. It's higher than 55. Because Mason Tipton, his percentage is not amazing. And then Cedric Wilson, his percentage is nothing. He's out, actually. No wonder he got a lot. And then Jermaine Jackson, rookie, not much going on there. So, the Saints have nothing going on, and Carr has to throw the ball to somebody. So, why not? You know what I'm saying? Other than that, wide receivers, Jennings, maybe. Pierce, I don't know. Dunzy, maybe. Bateman, maybe. Moore, maybe. Let's take a look at different players. Now moving on to tight end. The top tight end free agent this week was the Bengals' second tight end, Hudson, who stepped up for the 6 receptions, a touchdown, and scoring 13.3 points. Is Hudson a good player moving forward? I don't think so. I like him on the Bengals, especially since all went down. He's going to be out there. We're doing a lot of 2 tight end sets because our line is not giving Burrow enough time. And if that's going to happen, he's got a lot of opportunities, but I don't think he's worth grabbing and starting. Smith, though, he's playing a lot 49, 66, 69, 43, and he's getting a lot of receptions. So he's a possible streamer. Other than that, I don't know too many about these other guys. As you see, Gasecki and Hudson are right there next to each other. I don't know if I would rely on any of them, honestly. Now, defense, the top defense D on the free agency was New England, who scored 16 points by only allowing 3 points to the Bears. So at this point, really streaming defense is required to attack bad offenses. Green Bay Packers are sitting right there. They are due to play the Bears. Green Bay, it's a divisional game. They're going to bring it. So, yeah, grab Green Bay and play them against the Bears. There's a chance they might put up a lot of points. So grab them, play them, plug them in. Bengals playing the Chargers. I would not do that. Houston is playing the Cowboys, but Houston's a defense that's probably taken already. Who else is playing bad teams? Falcons playing Denver. Is that something you might want to look at? I don't know. Do some Googling, look it up. We got the Rams playing New England. They might do well against the New England. So that might be a team you want to grab for your waivers. All right, we're gonna move on to the next week. All right, so week 11. Let's look at the week 11. Thankfully for me, I have a bye week. I'm playing East High Wildcats. Not even gonna worry about that. That's automatic W for us. We have King of the North versus Stroop Do Whoop. And I wish I could go in here and keep people out and put in people. Like Harris has a bye, so he's not gonna be there. And he's paying attention to King of the North. So he's probably gonna put in Myers, which is 10.2 fantasy. So he's gonna go up 10.2. That puts him at 95, 94.85. So he's actually gonna be projected to win. Looking over at Super Whoop, he has all of his starting players. Does he have any players on his bench that he would be starting? Neil Collins supposed to be back. Might come back week 11. He would go right back into your starting lineup over Worthy. That gives you a total of 5 fantasy points. That puts you at 95. That makes it almost like 1 fantasy point difference between these two teams. So this is going to be a great matchup to watch for sure. Great matchup to watch for sure. Who do I think is going to win? 3, 7, 4, 4, 6. Give me King of the North. I think King of the North is going to go ahead and win this one. He just had a big week last week. I think he's going to keep momentum for sure. Then we go on to the next one, which is No New Friends versus Big Beautiful Diz. 2 powerhouses going against each other. Fantasy points difference of 1. And if I look at their bench, it looks like they already set their lineups for their best lineup possible. So this is definitely going to be a good game. Can't wait to watch this one. If I had a pick, let me see. Stafford versus Purdy. Stafford. Mixon versus Henry. Henry. Let's see here. Williams versus Jacobs. Williams. Tillman versus Lamb. Lamb. Hill versus Metcalf. Is Metcalf back? That's a wash. Henry versus Hawkinson. Hawkinson. Gibbs versus Mooney. Gibbs. Hunt versus Downs. Buffalo versus Jets. Actually, go Downs on that one. Denver versus Atlanta versus Buffalo versus KC. I'm gonna go with Denver possibly. So I have an exact equal right here. Like I counted an exact equal for each team. So I really have no idea who's gonna win. It's gonna be crazy. But if I had to pick, I think I would go with the lower seeded team, Big Beautiful Days. Next, we have Heavyweights versus Team Maverick Migs. And we have 96 versus 90. Pretty close. Any players here in their bench that should be starting? Ba, ba, ba. Not really. This is pretty much the way it should be. Oh, McBride is out. So you have to put in a bits for him. You have Ingram with 8. That brings you up to 98. That puts Maverick Migs in the projected win by 3 points. So 2 points. That's a pretty close game. Another close one, honestly. So that was good. Burrow versus Jackson. Moser versus Taylor. Montgomery versus Etienne, Montgomery. Cup versus Nakua. Oh man, that's gonna be the decider right there because I doubt they both catch a touchdown each. I mean, Nakua could catch 2, Cup could catch 0, and that will decide the game. So if they're gonna be interested in figuring out who's gonna win, you watch that Rams New England game, and you root for your wide receiver because that's a difference right there for sure. That's a difference. That'll be fun to watch. I think Heavyweights is gonna actually win this one. Going on with 51st Legion versus Akuta Matata. And let's look at the teams here. No bye weeks set up in the lineup. Anyone really good on our benches? No. Looks like everything's set up pretty good. And we have Akuta Matata projected win by 12 points. I'm going to have to agree with that. 12 points is a lot to come back from, especially when you're playing players like Gibson at running back versus Chase Brown. Other than that, it's pretty close everywhere else. That's the only downfall right there is Gibson versus Brown. And you have no one to put in its place. So really nothing else you could do. Would I go to waivers and grab a running back here like SCM? No. Increase roll, 45% snap, 14.53. I mean, if you're projected to lose, maybe. So Payton said he was encouraged with Estime's performance against the Chiefs, and the rookie will continue to get more reps. Javonte Williams could continue to take a backseat to 21-year-old Williams. What? Oh, after Williams handled just 1 carry against Kansas City. Wow. You know what? If I was, if I was, uh, if I was, where am I at? Maverick Mix? Yeah. No. Last one. No. If I was 51st Legion, I think I would go grab the Denver running back, the rookie. I would probably drop Leggett. I don't think you need him or Hill, because you're never starting Hill over Pitts. I don't think. And I would actually play him with projection of 7 instead of 4. Also, the ceiling is just higher. Like he could easily go for 15. Gibson is not scoring over 10. Like it's not happening. So I would actually go do that if I were you. So good luck. I think Kumatat's going to win. And then we have Team Cleanup versus Lady and the Champs. Look at the players here. Stroud has been not great. I mean, they look good, but like his numbers should be better than this. But his playoff, look at that. Miami, KC, Baltimore, Tennessee, 20, 18, 19, 19 projection. So, but yeah, he has not been great last few weeks. You got White on the bye here, and Neighbors, and Godwin still hurt. So you really have to do some changes. Projected to lose by a lot, but you have 3 people missing here. So if I go to your bench here, put in Sutton, put in Judy. You don't have a running back to put in, do you? You could go after that running running back as well, actually, because you didn't have a running back to put in. So Sutton Judy is a combination of 19 points. That brings you up to 78. Still not even close, honestly. I don't think you can catch up to late champs. So I'm gonna go for late champs here. But still hit the waivers and see what you can do, you know? Well, that was a fast one. I'm by myself, so I don't have one to bounce off of. I'm tired, as you can tell from all the yawning I did earlier. So I'm happy with that. It's a fast one. I'm not too worried about it. We're at week 11. Looking at the playoff picture here, playoffs start at week 15. So look at your players, try to figure out this is the last week of trades. So do some trading if you can. And right now, Akuda Matata and Scott have not Akuda Matata. Yeah, Jack Star 89, yes. Akuda Matata and Nanu Friend Scott have the bye week projected with Jack Caroni, Kalina, Big Fool Diz, and myself making the playoffs. So, but like I said, it could change around. You know, these players, Kalina, Akuda Matata, heavyweights, Pittsburgh Legion, and Stroop to Whoop are all on the all in the bubble for possible playoff potential. So keep fighting, hit those waivers, and good luck. I'll see you next week.